Welcome to MarcusG.tv. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. I'm a chef on a mission. Today's mission is I'm going to be answering a question here, Jamie, from a Facebook friend. My son is active in sports one after another and weightlifting as well. What would be a great source, a natural source of protein for him to drink after these activities? That's a great question. The whole protein debate, Jamie, is really...
Yeah, we get asked that all the time.
As many of you know, I am a vegan, was vegetarian for a long time, vegan on and off. Sometimes I eat fish, sometimes I wouldn't, but I go months and months being vegan. Then I'd had fish for months, and if I'd have a piece of beef, it would be once a year. I would taste because it's my job, but I wouldn't taste much. Now I barely taste anything. I'll taste a little bit, but it's really a very small trace amount of my diet. So I am actually vegan, and I have been really strict, hardcore vegan for the last going on 5 months now, four full months. So this question on protein has come up over the years, and it's like vegetarians and vegans always ask, well, where do you get your protein from? And what Jamie, you and I changed our diet when we realized that we were having kids, right?
Yes.
Because we knew we screwed ourselves up pretty bad. We didn't want to screw our kids up. So that's when our minds started rolling and started getting this. But as far as our kids, I'm going to tell you what we've done with our kids. And if any of you know our kids, Courtney and Justin, especially Justin ran his first half marathon at 6 years old at 2 hours and 32 minutes. If you look at the world record book, that probably is the world record, but it's not being recognized because the person who does the listings doesn't recognize that course because it's a hilly course and it's a whole thing. But Justin has ran numerous races, half marathons, 18 milers. He's extremely active in soccer. He does baseball. He does flag football, and he's so good at all these sports that he always gets moved up a year or two early. And now he does CrossFit
and basketball,
which is his true love. And Courtney has been running ever since she was 7 years old. Courtney started running with this. Yeah. And she's not an active runner, but she'll go out and run. She ran, 5 miles with you the other day, Jamie?
3.
3? There was a long...
4.5, yeah.
4.5, yeah. So she went out into that day. We went away to Florida, and she ran 4 miles with us. She ran every day with us. And she does horseback riding, and she does soccer as well. She did for a long time. She does softball. So she's very active as well. So this is a very good question because it really pertains to how I'm going to answer this question, what we do with our kids, right, Jamie?
Yes.
So first of all, after a sports activity, we like water and coconut water for our kids.
During and after. We don't give them Gatorade. We don't give them juices. We don't give them milk. In fact, our kids don't drink milk at all. They've never touched milk. Okay, they're vegetarians as well. They've never ever touched milk. They don't do cheese. If they do any kind of dairy, it would be small amounts of goat cheese here and there. That's the only dairy they've ever had very sporadically growing up. But they would never ever have a glass of milk, chocolate milk, nothing like that. I know there's a lot of diehards out there about milk and the protein, and that's coming from what the Milk Council is telling us. Now, if you've noticed, the Milk Council doesn't advertise high calcium builds your bones, milk makes strong bones anymore, because that's been disproven, okay? Milk has too much protein in it, which actually leaches the calcium out of your bones. So the countries that have the highest consumption of dairy, Finland, the UK, and the US, they have the highest cases of osteoporosis because the linkage is there from too much protein in the milk. Now, human milk is only 4%. Cow's milk is 11 to 15%. So here's the issue. An infant from 0 to 6 months old needs the most amount of protein you're ever going to need in your whole life, right? Because that's the biggest growth spurt you're ever going to have. You're going to develop more muscle, more tissue, more growth activity from 0 to 6 months old than you will throughout the rest of your life. That's true. That's a fact. And you're doing that strictly on mother's milk at 4% protein. That's it. So cow's milk at up to 15% protein is just way too much protein. That's why it's leaching the calcium out. So milk is no good. In fact, there's study after study after study of true independent studies of how too much protein in your diet is bad for your kidneys and bad for other vital organs in your body. And the latest studies just came out of Spain, the University of Granada, that said anybody on a high protein diet should rethink it ASAP, because the studies are there that there's too much protein. And now with all this this weightlifting, this whey protein and meat and the paleo diet and the Atkins diet, and all these people are on these high meat, high protein diets, which are proving to be detrimental. So what does a human need as far as protein? Well, if you look at 80-10-10 diet, Dr. Douglas Graham, he likes 10% protein, thus the 10%. But he says really ideally between 3 and 10% of your caloric intake should be protein. And there's a lot of other people in the wellness community and in the athletic community that think 3 to 10% is exactly what our bodies need. Now keep in mind, it's virtually impossible to eat just 3% unless you're eating just basically a ton of empty calories and crap, because that's the only way you're going to get 3%. It's extremely easy to get to 10 or 20% protein by eating whole foods, fruits, vegetables, grains, beans, lentils, nuts, seeds. If you eat those things, you will have no problem exceeding. I just posted a video recently on what I ate in one day. It was 3,400 calories, and I had 80 grams of protein. Now, an adult male says he's supposed to have 56 grams of protein, correct? So I had 80 grams of protein, of vegan, high-quality protein. Now, people are going to say, well, Marcus, you have to do rice and beans together, right? Because there was a famous book out called The Diet for a Small Planet from Frances Moore Lappé. And she wrote this book, I think, in 1971, said you have to combine amino acids to get full protein. Well, if you read her stuff carefully, she later took that statement back and said that she was wrong about that. You don't need to combine all these things, because people are still on all this. You know, once you teach a society something, it's hard to reteach them. So with this going back, 50 years ago, 40 years ago, people are stuck on, well, you have to eat rice and beans together. You have to eat certain things together. If you don't have a complete protein, it's not good. That's wrong. The author of that book, of that theory, she rebutted that. She goes, that's not true. And in the book, Diet for a Small Planet, it goes way off on tangents on how to combine this amino acid with this amino acid. It's virtually impossible to do it. And you don't see animals out in nature doing this. You don't see horses, cows, giraffes. You don't see them balancing foods like that. They eat one food. They mono-eat. They eat a ton of grass. They eat a ton of this. They eat a ton of that. They eat a ton of vegetation. And these animals are extremely strong, so they're getting plenty of protein. For instance, broccoli has an immense amount of protein. It has twice the protein of beef. So there's protein in everything out there. And you can easily get that 3 to 10% by having a diet in whole foods. So what do we give up? What don't we give our kids? So we don't give our kids meat. We don't give our kids chicken. We don't give our kids eggs. Eggs are a high source of protein, but we don't give them eggs. We don't give them cheese. We don't give them milk. The only cheese they do, on a side note, is a little bit of goat's cheese. Every now and then a little bit of raw cow's milk, grass-fed cheese, but that's very, very, very infrequently. So we don't give them that. We give them lots of water. They like coconut water. They do smoothies, and they do lots of fresh juices. Lots of fresh smoothies and juices, okay? So things that you can add to your smoothies or post or pre-meal drinks for kids or for anybody. I like flax milk. I like hemp milk. I like almond milk. I like rice milk. If you're watching the fat like I'm watching, rice milk has the lowest fat. Almond, flax, they're all about 80-90% fat. But if you're comparing that to 4% milk, 4% milk, it has a ton of fat. Even 2% milk. When you buy low-fat 2% milk, 38% caloric intake is actually fat. So yes, 38% of that is actually fat. Even 0% skim milk has 2-3% fat in it. So don't get misled by 1%, 2%, 4%, or 2%. 2% is almost 40% fat. It's a very high fat food still, okay? Now whole milk is going to be double that. So it's an extremely high fat food. So that's why I like rice milk when I go to the vegan side on things. Although I'm not opposed to flax and hemp. Hemp has a lot of good, and so does flax, a lot of good omega-3s. Flax is very good for inflammation, so if you're athletic, inflammatory foods are going to be very good for your joints and for the healing process afterwards, for recovering. So things like pineapple, high in bromelain, turmeric, is extremely good for inflammation. So again, flax oil, little flax tablets, capsules, after a good workout is going to help with that inflammation, just like fish oil, very high inflammatory. Some of the worst things to eat or drink, to actually consume after a workout or any time in general, it's going to be like Gatorade, these sports drinks. Those are totally pure crap. In fact, a lot of them still have corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup in them, and they're all sweetened with sugar. If you want a real energy drink, drink coconut water. That's really the best. Fresher, the best. You can buy fresh coconuts now. Even in the grocery stores, most grocery stores, you can now buy the white young Thai coconuts. Just chop the top off really quick. It doesn't take an axe or a hammer or anything. It's just a stronger knife, and the top just comes right off, and stick a straw in and go. If not, they come into a lot of packages, but of course keep in mind that those are pasteurized. So no processed juices, no milk, none of that. Now, back to the whole diet in general. It would be virtually impossible not to get enough protein from eating fruits, veggies, at least 11 plus servings a day, 15 servings a day. The more, the better. Personally, I have about 15 bananas a day. Look at one of my last videos on my YouTube channel. It shows you what I ate in one day. It was 2.5 pounds of cantaloupe, like 15, 20 bananas, a pound of spinach, 2 cups of rice, cooked rice, and 2 cups of mung beans. And that's how I got 80 grams of protein for that one day. And I ate a lot of food. It was a lot of really good food. But you can really eat these mono foods and get all the nutrients you need and take it easier on the digestion of your body. So between vegetables, beans, you can add nuts and seeds. Those are extremely high in protein, but as you go with nuts and seeds, you're going to increase your fat intake. So just be careful with that if you're trying to watch your fat. Now, I don't watch calories with myself or with my kids. I believe a calorie restrictive diet is useless. It's a waste of time. You're eating foods. If you're restricting the calories in your diet, you're actually eating the foods you're not supposed to be eating. Because if you eat the foods that we're designed to eat, you can just satiate yourself. You can fill yourself up all day long and not gain weight. That's the beautiful thing. But our diets, our bodies actually, are not designed to digest high-fat foods. We have a long intestine. We don't have a short intestine. But this long intestine that we have, this long digestive tract, is not good for high-fat foods. So sitting there and eating a cupful of nuts or a few slices of bacon or a burger does not help our digestion whatsoever. Even a chicken breast, and especially fried foods, French fries, these don't digest in our body. Extremely detrimental. So, pure whole foods in their whole form. Try to cook the foods as little as possible. I like a lot of raw spinach. I love sauteed spinach. I love sauteed kale. I do a lot of that as well. So, you're going to get plenty of protein. Now, when I say like nuts, a quarter cup of nuts, a little 2-ounce thing, quarter cup of nuts, which is only about 20 almonds, okay, will get you enough protein for the day. That's how little protein we actually need, or how much actually protein is in the foods that we're already eating that are available to us. So don't get stuck on this high protein, and you see these weightlifters at the gym and everything. If food made muscles, there wouldn't be gyms, because you go to the kitchen to cook for muscles, right? Muscles are made in the gym. Muscles are made by stressing your ligaments, stressing your muscles, and rebuilding it. And the best way to rebuild that is through vegan protein. Vegan protein is much more assimilated in your body versus animal protein. It's just a much better alternative. Look at horses, look at cows, look at giraffes, look at elephants. Look at all these vegetarian, vegan animals. They've built an extreme load of muscles, muscular definition, on all plant-based protein. Plant-based protein is where it's at. There's a lot of athletes out there that swear by this diet. Take a look at Frank Madrano, Brendan Brazier, Tim Van Orden. The list goes on and on. Take a look at Durian Rider's YouTube channel. Just like the fruit Durian Rider. He has a great channel promoting vegan, promoting sports, high energy foods. So check all those out. So that's what we do with our kids. Anything else, Jamie, that we can add to that?
No, I think you covered everything.
No, it's just pure clean food. Our kids don't do white sugar. They don't do white flour. They don't eat dead carbohydrates. It's all about high quality carbs. High quality carbs are where it's at. No candy bars, no candy, no ice cream. Our kids don't do. When I say our kids don't do dairy, they don't really do. They don't do ice cream. If they want something, it's either a vegan-based, non-dairy-based ice cream, which is very infrequently. My kids would rather sit down with a box of raisins or dates or figs or fresh fruit of some sort, tangerines or lychees. When lychees come in season here next month, my kids will probably eat 5 pounds a day between the two of them. And so that's where it's at. That's where all the energy and food is. That's going to provide plenty of athletic ability. It's going to provide enough to build muscle on them and for their brain and everything. There's plenty of nutrients in all of that food. I'm Chef Marcus Giuliano. If you like this video, please hit like, subscribe to my channel, pass this video on, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment thread, or you can email me at chef@chefonamission.com.
I can't stop it tonight. This epidemic, I'm trying to fight. Blood pressure's rising now. It's in the danger zone. Somebody help me, I'm about to go terminal. It's an epidemic, all is plenty.